Oh hey guys, this is ARC the Clarinet Master, and I'm currently staying at my sister's place, looking after her pet dog, Louie. Say hi, Louie. Hello. Yeah, he's just enjoying a pig's ear. I think he might have eaten it all, actually. Anyway, that's not why we're here. The reason why we're here is because I'm going to be reacting to... Yeah, this is my... Oh yeah, I forgot. Welcome to my first reaction video, everyone. And today I'm going to be reacting to a video from a channel called MsMojo. But now, first I'd like to give a little bit of my opinion about the channel. I don't really have anything against the channel, you know, it just makes typical countdown videos, just like its parent channel, WatchMojo. But at the same time, I don't really show much support for it either. It's just kind of, it exists, you know. I mean, it is kind of a pointless channel to exist. Like, they say they're targeting the female demographic, but can't they just make videos like that for the main channel? Like, it doesn't make any sense, really. But today we're going to be tackling a video that I'm not sure I'm going to like. The top 10 most feminist Disney ladies. Now, I actually used to be a feminist back in the early to mid 2010s. But I've abandoned the label after I've realized how bad, not all, but a lot of feminists can be. There are some feminists I like. I like Claudia Brown, for example. She seems like a nice person, but, yeah, very informative with her stuff. But, no, Louie, that's not for you. But I don't know, just the stuff that feminism is associated with nowadays, like shutting down men's shoulders and blasting people, like basically banning any disagreement. I just, again, I know not all feminists do that, but I don't want to be associated with that label, so I'm sort of veering to like debunking feminism now, basically pointing out all the flaws with it, and like I'm doing it in a way that doesn't come across as overly douchey, like, you know, TJ Kirk or Sargon or what have you. And I also want to make sure that, you know, I want to make sure that, yes, I do still support, you know, the idea that girls and women should be allowed to be themselves and all that. The little rat bag's messing with my jacket, but ironically it's because of those beliefs that I post feminism nowadays, because I just want them to be normal. Like, I just want women to be seen as normal. Like, not as, you know, just as the second sex, if you will, which is... Like, I've been labelled an SJW just for saying that, social justice warrior, for those who don't know, but ironically, the feminists themselves are perpetuating that belief. So, anyway, let's just get on with the video. Let's see what they have to say. If they want to treat women as normal, then, like, they say this channel is specifically for girls, so shouldn't they not make everything about their gender, just treat girls as normal, average people? Like, it doesn't... Let's just get on with the video. 3, 2, 1, play.
These women certainly aren't damsels in distress.
Girl?
Okay.
Girl? If it weren't for this girl, you would still be in the Horned King's dungeon.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're...
Okay, well, to be fair, Punky Brewster was around when Black Cauldron came out, so that was kind of, I don't know, just, I don't really see that moment as being particularly feminist. It's just, I don't know, Tehran was just, I've only seen Black Cauldron once, so I don't really know the context of that scene. Now you leave the wine box alone, Louie.
counting down our picks for the top 10 most feminist Disney ladies.
Pregnant women.
Oh good, they consider Ariel feminist. That's nice of them. Yeah, I hate it when feminists constantly bitch about how, like, oh, she only wanted to be with a man. But, like, she was interested in human culture before she even knew about Eric. So it was just the final straw, you know. And it also brings me to another point which I think I'll address later when it's more relevant.
Sick of swimming.
I do like him rhyming swimming with women though. That's pretty cool.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're ranking characters from Disney and Pixar movies who display a variety of feminist traits.
Okay, but what exactly is a feminist trait? Hey, no, Louis, that's not for you. Yeah, it's just like having a child in the house, basically. This little guy. Anyway, like what is a feminist trait? Is it a girl who just wants to be herself and do what she enjoys? Well, guess what? There's a lot of women like that, and they get accused of having internalized misogyny just for daring to not adhere to the feminist mindset. Just because... Like, what if a woman would rather join the music industry than join the STEM fields, huh? Also, I love how they're listing Enchanted as an example. A movie that treats this stuff as brand new when it's been done before. Like, women have been... Like, we've had Mulan, we've had Hunchback, we've even had the Little Freaking Mermaid. Oh, this is just that cracked video all over again. The Enchanted, not this video, but... Well, even though it came before that cracked video, but... For all we know, this video could be another example of that.
We're excluding live-action films, so unfortunately characters like Mrs. Banks
You mean fortunately, fucking misandrous prick.
won't make the cut.
We're clearly soldiers in petticoats and dauntless crusaders for women's vote.
Funny how they conveniently left out the quote that pretty much destroys Earth. Okay.
Number 10. Rapunzel.
Nice pick. Yeah, I agree. I really like Rapunzel. I like her bubbly personality and just her lust for life after she leaves the tower. She is a great character. And she's smart too. So yeah, there's a plus. But let's see what MsMojo has to say.
Tangled.
Here comes the smolder. This is kind of an off day for me. This doesn't normally happen.
It pretty much goes without saying that as the years have gone on, Disney has created more and more independent female characters.
And never mind that other studios have been doing independent female characters since before then, like I forget the name of the studio, but like, what about little Audrey? Yeah, I know she's a preteen girl, so yeah, whatever. You may say she doesn't count. What about little Lulu, huh? Hang on. And this whole video, well, okay, not the whole video, this is actually my first time watching it, so for all I know, but given the title, yeah, I think we can all agree it is probably treating the idea of independent female characters as something new. Again, just like that cracked video did a commentary on. Like, I was going to do a commentary on this video, but I thought it would take... Sorry, Louis was just playing the squeaky toy, which I do not want doing while this video is recording. But, like, just treat being a woman as being normal. Why is that such a hard concept to grasp? Feminists.
While the iconic princesses of the House of Mouse's early years may have been waiting for a man to come save them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you had little Lulu and little Audrey, and yes, I know they're not from Disney, but they were still around at the time. Maybe, just maybe you should, I don't know, do research. And also, even before The Little Mermaid, there was freaking Punky Brewster. But nobody seems to remember her for some... no, Louis. Yeah, nobody seems to remember Punky Brewster for whatever reason. So, I guess she doesn't count. Oh yeah, like I was saying, I was going to do a commentary on this, but I thought it would take too long. Especially given how I currently have a commentary in the works, but... it still isn't... Oh, you want your blanket, do you? In retrospect, this probably wasn't a good time to do this reaction vid. Yeah, so I just decided to do it as a reaction video instead. save me a lot more time. Louis, why are you digging in the couch? Okay, moving on.
Their modern heroines are much more self-sufficient. Here!
And, I mean, shouldn't you be treating this as... I don't want to repeat myself.
Case in point, Rapunzel from Tangled. You know how the story goes. A beautiful girl is trapped in a tower and needs a dude to come set her free. In this contemporary adaptation of the classic tale, though, Rapunzel can really hold her own with a strong head of hair on her shoulders.
I've got a dream.
She's got a dream.
I've got a dream.
She's got a dream.
Number 9. Pocahontas, Pocahontas.
I love when they do that when it's a protagonist title or just the character sharing the title with the movie in general. But yeah.
While this film's depiction of the titular Native American icon is far from historically accurate, no one can fault Disney for the compelling character that they created.
I think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew.
While the love story between Pocahontas and John Smith is central to this film, it doesn't end with the happily ever after that we were expecting.
Okay, so I actually saw Pocahontas back in July of this year, when coincidentally I also was staying here, looking after Louis here when he was a young pup. But yeah, I actually didn't mind it that much. I thought it was a pretty enjoyable movie. I definitely liked it a lot more than Doug Walker does, for example. But I don't know, Princess Mononoke was just so boring for me. So maybe it just made this look good by comparison. I guess I'm just a sucker for the Disney formula. But with that said, I think I know what point they're trying to bring up here. Like, they're trying to say, oh, Pocahontas don't need no man. But, and look, if a woman doesn't want to get with a man, you know, even if she's straight, then, you know, that's completely fine. She should be able to make her own choice. But if you're saying that it's bad for women in general to get with a man, then you clearly don't understand biology. Like, if a woman wants to be with a man, then freaking let her. And it doesn't necessarily mean that she's just a submissive little bitch who lets her husband boss her around, like in the 50s or whatever. Like, have you ever watched Daria, for example? Have you seen Daria's parents? Like, her mother is freaking married, but, you know, she's still a hardworking woman. Like, you even see that with Mr. and Mrs. Shives, for example. Like, I mean, say what you want about their relationship, but Ashley, I think the wife is, not to be confused with Ashley Hardell, is clearly the boss in the relationship. Funny how feminists completely ignore that. And yes, that was the point I wanted to bring up earlier when discussing Ariel. And, you know, I do like Pocahontas as a character. I don't think she's very well fleshed out or anything, but, you know, she seems nice, and she really likes nature. I've seen better characters like that, like Hilda, for example. It's a good show, you should check it out. You know, whether or not the movie Pocahontas was trying to be particularly feminist by having her not hook up with John Smith, I can't even say. Well, let's just move on from here.
This is the path I choose, Father. What will yours be?
Not only does Pocahontas defy the men in her life time and time again, insisting that she be able to choose her own path, but...
And Bart Simpson defies the women in his life. What's your point?
She also chooses her community over romance in the end.
And that's groundbreaking because... what about the guy from... hang on. What about the guy from Gone with the Wind? Oh, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. And he probably didn't say it like that, but you get my point, right? He clearly didn't want to be with that woman because he had more important stuff to worry about. I haven't actually seen Gone with the Wind, so I don't know the full context, but yeah, I saw a lot of comments saying that he was the first MGTOW, and yeah, that's how I pronounce it, MGTOW, not MGTOW. I don't know, I find that pronunciation to be a bit mentally disabled, to put it nicely. I don't know, it just sounds like a... Yeah, I'm not even going to say it. Oh, what the heck, it just sounds like a Chinese person learning English for the first time. Oh, you're no good MGTOW, shame on you. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, it sounds a bit racist, but... I don't know, maybe the only people calling me racist for that are just a bunch of intersectional feminists or whatever, but... yeah, I have nothing against the Chinese people or Asians in general, if that's what you're wondering. And my point is, the reason I pronounce it MGTOW instead of MGTOW is because that's how I thought it was pronounced when I originally saw it. And correct pronunciation, it just sounded wrong to me. And yeah, it's the same thing with like Tara Strong, for example. Apparently it's pronounced Tara Strong, but I don't know, I say Tara because that's how I thought it was pronounced. Yeah, you get the idea. Moving on.
Number 8, Tiana.
Oh yeah, about the Pocahontas thing. Yeah, maybe it's because, I mean, okay, the sequel kind of defies that, but, you know, like, she didn't know that at the time. She thought she just wanted to be with her people, like, where she belonged. Remember, the natives were racist as well. Not necessarily her, but it's complicated. Okay, let's see what they say about Tiana. Wait, let me guess. They're probably gonna go the intersectional route and say, oh, she's black and female, and she's a good role model for black girls everywhere, or something like that. Yeah, their accent was terrible, but it's sort of an off-the-cuff reaction, so it's not going to be very well polished compared to a scripted video, but I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to go the intersectional route, as if women are just some minority group, and that being black is inherently tied to being female just because they were both oppressed at one point. Well, and because black women exist, well, Germans with autism exist, but that doesn't mean Germans and autistics are tied together just because they're both stereotyped as being really smart and good at doing technical stuff. And also, black men can be sexist as well. White women can be racist. Hell, a lot of the more sexist men on the planet happen to not be white, though I'm not saying all non-white people, that would be a pretty racist claim to make, but, you know, like, think about it. It's places like Saudi Arabia, China, Papua New Guinea. I think women's rights are pretty steady in Japan, though, probably because they're so westernized, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. Maybe Japan is the most misogynistic country on the planet, and they're just really good at hiding it, but, yeah. Let's just apply Occam's razor here and say that they treat their women well. Because, you know, fewer assumptions have to be made that way. Anyway, let's see what they say about the black girl.
The Princess and the Frog. Tiana is definitely best African-American Disney princess.
Okay. Nothing inherently intersectional yet, but it looks like a slippery slope here. Yeah, nothing against black people, African-Americans, it's just... that's not inherently tied to being female.
But it's important to remember that she's also a great representation of a feminist woman. Rather than dreaming of the day her prince will come, Tiana dreams of starting her own business.
Okay, but does she also want to marry a man? As someone who's seen the film, I can say, yes she does. But that does not mean she does not also want to live her freaking dream. It's like with Daria's parents, you know? Just because she landed herself with a man does not mean she's going to be the submissive housewifey type. Moving on.
I know exactly where I'm going.
She has a great singing voice, by the way.
I'm getting closer and closer.
Also, is it me, or does she literally just look like a black Belle? You know, Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Every day.
She is a great example for young girls who are used to seeing women portrayed on screen as only hoping to find love.
What about Punky Brewster? What about Kim Possible? CJ the DJ? What about Abigail from Once Upon a Forest? Even though, I don't know, I haven't seen the movie Once Upon a Forest, so I can't actually judge it for myself, but from what I've heard, it's mostly just okay. But, you know, from what I know about Abigail, how she actually does most of the work, like, dude, just waiting around for your man to rescue is not the only thing that girls see. Why does... It's like, did you grow up in a household, like, whoever wrote this, did you grow up in a household where literally the only thing your parents showed you were Disney princess films? Because that's what it sounds like. What about Spirited Away? The girl in that movie just wants to get her parents back. Because, you know, she's just a child and she needs parents to raise her. Or, you know, some adults with responsibility. So yeah, girls have more options to see on screen. You completely ignore it. Oh, and also, like during the 80s, like before The Little Mermaid had its Disney adaptation, like those are dot films. I mean, okay, the first two, you could argue, weren't very feminist at all. Like, little girl just gets lost in the woods, somebody, yeah, a kangaroo takes her back, yeah, that's... You could argue that's pretty feminist on the kangaroo's part, and the movie does pass the Bechdel test, if that's what you're wondering, but yeah, feminists are only concerned with the main characters. That's why Sleeping Beauty isn't so popular among feminists, for example. Because it's the fairies doing the work, and they're not the main characters, so they don't count. But, and of course in the second movie, Dot was just hitching a ride with Santa Claus. Oh, she needs a man to chauffeur her. But, you know, by the third one, she was more independent. She was having to look after a little bunny rabbit while they were off on their adventure. And, you know, she gets progressively independent. She's almost like a precursor to Hilda in a sense. So yeah, do research. Oh, and there's also Little Lulu and Little Audrey. Look them up. I don't want to waste your time.
Female Disney characters who were so much more than their romantic sub.
And that's been known before. Buzz and Maggie, Kim Possible, CJ the DJ. Wait, no, I don't think CJ. Wait, what's CJ the DJ about? Okay, but Little Audrey, Little Lulu. God, do research instead of making bold assumptions about the way female characters are. Also, even with Disney, we had Mulan. Freaking Lan. Maybe you should watch your own damn movies.
Applauds.
He never lost sight of what was really important.
Easy with that. Careful.
And neither will I.
Number 7, Elsa.
Really? You're using Elsa as an example? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I actually listed Elsa as an example of a strong female character in my Cracked commentary, the commentary on the Cracked video, but that was before I learned to think critically about why Elsa is particularly feminist. I mean, she sings about how she's, you know, she's free and more independent, not wanting anyone, you know, how she doesn't have anyone holding her down and all that stuff, but all she does is whine and complain, and she's very insecure about herself. Like, that is not a strong female heroine, if you ask me. Talk is cheap. But songs, yeah, you have to pay the songwriter to write them. But like if you, but she's still only just singing about her being more confident and stuff. That. But did she actually show it? Seldom! That means rarely, for those of you not familiar. Okay, let's just see what they have to say.
Frozen. Unlike most other Disney princesses, Elsa from Frozen has no romantic plotline.
Neither does Merida. I'm not a big fan of Merida either, but I at least acknowledge that she did it first, as far as the Disney princesses go at least.
At all.
Don't let them in.
Or do they mean in the sense that she didn't... Or do they mean in the sense that Elsa didn't even have suitors like Merida did? I'm not going to repeat the point about how there's been plenty of stuff before.
Don't let them see.
Also, what about male characters who have love interests? I mean, like when Doug Walker reviewed Dinosaur, for example, he complained about how the female love interest, it's just there to be the female love interest, but he didn't say anything about how the movie doesn't imply that a man isn't complete without a woman, or in this case, a male dinosaur isn't complete without a female dinosaur. Dinosaur M, Dinosaur S, you get the idea, but... And, you know, Dipper from Gravity Falls, like, his entire goal throughout the first season, aside from his actual main goal of finding all the weird stuff in the titular town of Gravity Falls, like, his secondary goal, at least, was to get with Wendy, the hot redhead who he happened to work at the Mystery Shack. Are we just gonna forget that... Are we just gonna forget about that? Are we just gonna say it's completely fine that a man isn't complete without a woman? What about Mickey Mouse, huh? How come he gets off scot-free for having a love interest? What about Bugs Bunny and his occasional girlfriend? I don't know, I think... Yeah, I think he's had like 2 girlfriends over the decades, but still, does he need a woman? Or is he a strong, independent hare man? Yeah, is he a rabbit or a hare? Who cares? But, like, I mean, hell, 101 Dalmatians pretty strongly implies that a man isn't complete without a woman, but with how Pongo literally forced Roger, well, he basically arranged the marriage with Roger and Anita, thankfully not with a certain other Anita, but, yeah. How come nobody's complaining about that, huh? Right, because it's only an issue when it happens to women, because women are a minority, even though they make up 51% of the population in Western countries.
Be the good girl you always have to be.
She's focused on much bigger problems, like avoiding turning her entire kingdom to ice. She also helps her sister Anna avoid the typical trappings of a romance.
Also, how much are you willing to bet that Anna isn't on this list? I mean, I'm not really a big fan of Anna either, but, you know, she at least has the bright, spunky attitude that is always quite popular with girl characters for some reason, and effeminate male characters like SpongeBob and Steven Universe. Not that there's anything wrong with men being effeminate. I mean, the whole toxic masculinity thing is one of those things I agree with feminists on, but I'm not going to get into that because, yeah, like, anyway, my point about Anna is that, you know, she at least has the bright, spunky attitude. She's probably closer to what the feminists say they would like to see in female characters than what Elsa is. Because she actually tries to go out and do something. She tries to go out and rescue her sister. Oh, but she does it with the help of a man, so it doesn't count. Boo-hoo. Moving on.
Gone wrong.
You can't marry a man you just met.
Also, Elsa does not fucking suit that voice. It's kind of miscast in my opinion.
Can if it's true love. Anna, what do you know about true love?
That question always reminds me of Shrek. He's not your true love. And what do you know about true love? And I bet Cinema Sin Sins is going to send me for that, but yeah.
Her signature song of Let It Go is one of the most successful Disney tunes in recent memory.
Yeah, and that was what I was talking about earlier. She just says she wants to be more independent, but she doesn't actually follow through with it. She's still just a whiny little bitch.
And is all about ditching people's expectations of you and just being yourself.
Yeah, and we had... Is this whole video just going to be me name-dropping Punky Brewster to counter your examples? Because that's what it feels like. Okay, fine. How about a real-life example? How about Mary Anning? Like, it wasn't expected for women in her day, like back in, what was it, like the Victorian era, for women to actually make discoveries of, like, ichthyosaur fossils. Yeah, I was going to name-drop Marie Curie, but everyone name-drops Marie Curie. She only gets praise because she's a woman. And, something about, what was it, radiation that she specialized in? Nuclear physics. Let's just move on.
No matter what that looks like, what's more feminist than that?
Rapunzel, maybe? She doesn't say... Well, she does want her freedom, but she doesn't gloat about her independence in a fucking musical number that sounds like every other pop tune. Even though her opening song does kind of sound like that Miley Cyrus song, 7 Things or whatever. Also, this brings up another point. Like, who the hell is telling girls that they have to be perfect? I mean, okay, obviously a lot of people are, but what is wrong with just ignoring those people and just being yourself? Like, we had the buzz on Maggie, a freaking non-conformist female protagonist. Maggie Pesky is the name of the character. And she clearly didn't care. And, like, the very first episode showed that she wasn't exactly a fan of princess movies either. So there you go. There's one example. I was really expecting to have more detailed critique / commentary than this. Oh well, let's just see if it gets better from here.
Number 6. Officer Judy Hopps.
Ah, here we go. Now, with Zootopia, it's complicated. I've actually been avoiding watching it for quite a time, mainly because it's... So it's kind of the same reason, but for different reasons. Basically, the feminists like it because, ooh, it's so strong. It depicts a strong, independent female protagonist who actually does stuff, and it talks about race issues. Well, the anti-feminists like it because it goes against that feminist mindset, that women are all just a bunch of victims and they need special help. Judy actually gets it on her own, but honestly, I don't want to get caught up in that drama, and that's sort of why I'm avoiding Zootopia, because I don't want to get lumped into either of those categories. Like, I'm not going to avoid it like the plague. We have that other movie that shall not be mentioned for that, but, you know, like, if it was on at a friend's house, I'd probably happily sit down and watch it. I know there's a lot of funny scenes in there that I've seen from clips. It seems very much like the kind of movie I would enjoy, like taking all the political stuff outside of it. But like if somebody asked me to watch it on Netflix or what have you, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'd like to. But I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it of my own volition. Like, it just doesn't interest me that much. I'm certainly not going to be, like, if I have kids, I'm certainly not going to be like, you know, not letting my kids watch it. Again, we have that other movie for that. But yeah, let's see what they say about Zootopia.
Zootopia. Whoever heard of a bunny being a police officer?
Just quit and go home.
I don't know. Whoever heard of a hedgehog being a super fast superhero who battles an evil scientist? Whoever heard of a platypus being a secret agent? Whoever heard of a fox being an anarcho-capitalist? Or whoever heard of Hawaii being the setting for a sci-fi movie?
Bunny.
You've never been a bunny, Mom.
Never. Stupid carrot performance dog bunny.
And everyone always said there wouldn't be a red-haired prime minister, but we got that. Just saying. And this is another reason why I don't really want to watch Zootopia, because of the whole first bunny cop arc. Like, the thing is, I'm worried that people are going to take away the message that, oh, it's just like the first female X, and yes, I know there's a lot of firsts for other demographics as well, and that only makes it worse for women. Whatever, if you're a girl and you're fine with it, all power to you, but I just don't want my daughter, if I ever have one, taking that away from the movie. Yeah, like, if she wants to watch it, yeah, I'll still let her, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it for her either. I'd much rather watch something like something like Hilda, where, you know, instead of boasting about doing stuff, she just does it. Like, it's completely normal for her, for some of her, whatever demographics she happens to be, whether it's white, female, blue-haired, human, British accented, because I think it's strongly implied that the show doesn't take place in England. It probably takes place in some Scandinavian country, with, you know, the town being called Trollberg, and that they drive on the right side of the road. Yeah, and it was terrible when Sweden switched to the right. So many accidents, but yeah, Hilda just treats the show just treats the gender of the character Hilda, as well as all the other attributes. It's just normal. And she has a token black friend who is also female, proving that the gender and race are pretty much independent of one another. And she has a token male friend, so it's gone with the whole straight white female versus men and minorities angle. Well, not really versus, but I had to distinguish it from and somehow. Moving on.
Zootopia can be interpreted in many ways, as it's clearly a social commentary veiled as a fun kids movie.
They really did hire a bunny.
What? I gotta tell you, you are even cuter than I thought you'd be.
But if we are going to take a metaphor that bunnies are like women, then, as cringy as that is, then why doesn't Judy just ignore the remark? Why does she just say, whatever, yeah, I'm cute, but I'm not cuddly. Also, rabbits have razor-sharp teeth. Why doesn't she just... Oh, okay, yeah, she'll probably get in a lot of trouble for that, because it's laws against assault, but... No, my point is, rabbits can freaking harm other animals. Jimmy Carter, of all people, was startled by a freaking rabbit when he was on a fishing trip, and I only just found that out today from TV tropes of all places. But yeah, I'm sure if you Google it, and it'll point to other sources. Jimmy Carter, fishing trip, rabbit. Like, a bunny just hopped into his boat. That is freaking badass to interrupt the president's fishing trip. So Judy should not freaking care about what this leopard is saying.
You probably didn't know, but a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it...
Judy Hopps attempts to climb the ladder.
So bunnies are like black people, basically. Hey, it's our world. Only we can say it. Now, come on, I did a Chinese impression earlier.
Ladder in a career path dominated by species who are more physically imposing than her. But the thing that goes unsaid is that she's also one of the few women in her field.
Yep, I knew they were going to bring it up. Just like Lacey Green. At least they had the courtesy to say she's not the only woman in her field. But like... just give me a chance to word it properly. Just let girls follow their dreams regarding of whichever gender is in there. Like, I've heard people say, oh, it's just a sausage fest. But I actually know a man, my cousin's ex-boyfriend, who was in nursing. He was studying a course on nursing. I don't know if he's finished yet, but he doesn't care about the female dominance of nursing. He just followed his dream and he went through with it. And likewise, when I was studying at TAFE, I noticed there were a lot of women in there amongst all the young men. And from what I saw, they were cool there. Again, some of them could have been feminists who took issue with there being a sausage fest, but it can't be proven either way with the information I have. And same thing with the AIE course that I'm currently applying for at the time of recording this, because I dropped out of TAFE because it wasn't the one for me. I noticed there were a bunch of women in there as well. On the open day when I went there, you know, they clearly just stuck to their guns. They just, yeah, insert joke about that BoJack Horseman episode here. Like, they stuck to their guns and they followed their dreams. Okay, maybe it wasn't their dream to become an animator. They just did it because it was available for them. Whatever. Maybe one of them dreamt of becoming an architect, but it was too male-dominated for her. Whatever. But my point is, nobody should care about the damn gender of whoever's mostly in charge. Just be yourself.
In fact, the whole story could be representative of women in the workplace.
Ha! Called it. And this is why I don't want to show my future daughter Zootopia. Because it's intersectional, but if she wants to watch it, if she's begging me, Daddy, can I please watch Zootopia on Netflix? Or, yeah, assuming DVDs and Blu-rays have gone out of, obsolete by then. I don't know, but, you know, if that's what she wants, I'll freaking get it for her, but it's not something I would recommend for her because it has this intersectional but feminist undertone or overtone or... I just want her to grow up thinking or knowing or believing that her gender is just normal and that she can just live with her gender being normal. And this is supposed to be a YouTube channel targeted towards girls? I mean, I never grew up as a girl, so obviously I don't have first-hand knowledge of this, but I have two sisters who don't see their gender as being particularly abnormal in any way. They just go about being themselves and doing what they enjoy, or what they pretty much have to do in order to get by in the world. My older sister's been in and out of a few jobs, and my younger sister she's just finishing year 12. She's finishing her senior year this year, and she's probably going to go to uni or something. She doesn't care about the damn gender of whoever's currently in there. And even my feminist cousins didn't take gender studies. They both did different types of therapy, like occupational therapy and physiotherapy, respectively. I don't know if it was a female-dominated or not, but my point is, they don't make everything about their gender. They just want to be normal. Why is that so hard for feminists and even anti-feminists to understand? Moving on.
If you replace prey with women, this seems like a pretty feminist movie. Ironic.
Oh yeah, making it a predator versus prey relationship. And see, as someone who actually wants to get into the animation industry someday, I actually have an idea for a show in mind, which I don't want to give away too much because there are people out there who steal ideas and all that stuff, but basically it is going to be a political allegory involving animals. But, instead of being prey versus predators, it's going to be this group of animals versus this clade of animals versus this clade of animals. Clades being different groupings of animals, phylogenetically, which ones are related to which. That way it basically puts the men and women, if you see it as an allegory for such, on a level playing field. And if it helps, the main characters are what we would call prey animals, the main character is basically an allegory for a conservative white man, while his arch nemesis is a carnivorous animal who's an allegory for, you know, the feminists, SJWs, the leftists, and all that stuff. And I'm sure somebody's going to probably steal that idea and make it their own, but with the amount of vagueness that I was aiming for, at least, that I got out there, it will probably be vastly different than what I'm going for. But yeah, I've said the idea for my show a few times online, so if you want to dig that out, be my guest. Actually, I think there might be a cheater, because he's just got dots instead of like circles, so that, you know, or ring-shaped hands that leopards have, or the rings with dots inside of them that jaguars have, or the clouded patterns that clouded leopard have. You get the idea, right?
Right?
And the more we try to understand one another, the more exceptional each of us will be. But we
Just don't take that too far and say that minorities aren't minorities, because they are. Just saying, women are not a minority, so don't treat them as such.
have to try.
Number 5.
Oh, that's...
Get the 5 for $5.95 hash brown cheeseburger super stunner today.
Ah, yes, Hungry Jack's. Doesn't get more Australian than that. Oi, you want to pull into Hungry Jack's, mate? Get a burger? Crikey. Yeah, I'm not even going to do the thing. But yeah, I like that they put Belle on here. She, you know, very smart, but also beautiful at the same time. And again, she's very much willing to be herself and not give a damn about what anyone thinks of her. You know, very much unlike Judy, if what you're saying is anything to go by. And also I've read some theories that Belle might be on the autism spectrum. Moving on.
Number 5. Belle, Beauty and the Beast.
See, women, you can actually be sexy without being slutty. Well, mostly feminist women. But mostly the ones that Lauren Southern thinks that all non-housewifey women are like. Also, a quick heads up, that commentary I said I was working on earlier, that commentary is actually on Lauren Southern's video, which was blaming all non-housewifey women for the slutty behaviour. Because apparently tomboys don't exist, although being tomboy and housewife isn't technically mutually exclusive, and neither is being a tomboy or a slut, but it is possible to not be a slut or the housewifey type. There's lots of different types of women out there. It's going to be one of my main points in that commentary, but that face though.
In the great white somewhere, I want it more than I can tell.
If you've been part of the dialogue about Belle that was stirred up with the release of the live-action adaptation of this Disney classic, you know that she can be a bit of a
By the way, I like Belle with her hair down. Just, yeah.
polarizing character.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the West Wing!
Well, you should learn to control your temper.
Whether she's a feminist has been called into question.
Not really. I mean, according to most feminists nowadays, she has internalized misogyny because, oh, how dare she get with a man, and how dare she be herself and do her own thing, which is, like, ironically, the thing you praised Elsa for doing. Now, she's got to constantly believe that she's a victim of the patriarchy, and need constant help to get through in the workforce and all that stuff. Now that's the feminist thing to do, and you know, Mulan would also have internalized misogyny by today's standards, because she's a victim blamer apparently. Nah, she shouldn't defend her country from the Huns, she should teach the Huns not to invade her country. I mean, that's the feminist logic, not mine, I'm just using it.
Because of the...
And I'm willing to bet that Mulan is number 1 on this list, which I don't know how to feel about.
The way she reacted to the Beast's treatment of her. She is clearly meant to be portrayed as a woman who is unusually intelligent and is discriminated against for being different than those around her.
Yeah, because she's a fucking spurg. People who are nerdy generally do get outcasted. And yeah, it probably has something to do with her gender given the time period, but at least her dad doesn't mind her nerdy behavior. He's ahead of his time in that regard. Like, most dads would have just seen their daughters as property, basically. They would have been willing to give them up just for a cow. Yeah, I never really got the concept of dowry, to be honest. I give you my livestock and you give me your daughter's hand in marriage. Could you imagine if they did that nowadays? Yeah, I'd probably be saying, what if the woman wants to do it? She should be allowed to, right? But since they don't do it anymore, I don't really give a crap, so... And this has nothing to do with the video, so moving on. Or at best, it's only tangentially related, so moving on.
She is also one of the earliest female Disney characters who really held their own, and was shown standing up to...
Well, at least you said one of the first, implying that Ariel was...
a man who was pursuing her.
I'm very sorry, Gaston, but...
And yeah, that proves that she's not a freaking feminist, because she's actually defending herself. No, we should be teaching Gaston not to come on to women who don't want that, who don't want him. Teach no one to rape like Gaston.
But... I just don't deserve you!
See, they actually acknowledge that Belle is smart. Which apparently most women aren't nowadays, according to feminist theory. Because they're constant victims who can't think for themselves, and we need to encourage them into these fields. Okay, so apparently Merida's next on the list, and I know I listed her as another example of a strong female character in the cracked commentary, but... And I do think she's better than Elsa by a long shot, no pun intended, but still, her entire character is pretty much just, oh, I didn't want to marry a man, and I'm sick of my mother pressuring me into it. And again, I honestly, I do think Pixar has come quite a way since Brave. It's a movie that treats a strong, independent woman as something groundbreaking and revolutionary and progressive. Like, come on, we've had Mulan, we've had Esmeralda, we've had Ariel, even though she wasn't particularly kick-ass in any way, but... We had the freaking Little Audrey before then. She basically invented the dishwasher. Holy shit. And that's actually funny because a woman did actually invent the dishwasher in real life. I'm actually not joking. Gee, it's almost like women are smart, or women can be smart. But yeah, it's nice to know that Pixar has come a long way since then with, you know, Inside Out. Another piece of media that just treats being a girl like it's a completely normal thing, like having 5 fingers, if you count the thumb as a finger, or having 2 feet. I'm grateful that Inside Out exists, because it sort of helped made up for Brave and treating girls like they're this new groundbreaking thing, or whatever, but... Let's see what they say.
Number 4. Merida. Brave. In creating Merida, it was clear that Disney and Pixar were attempting to write a feminist princess.
Yeah, never mind that Pixar has actually had feminist characters before with Elastigirl. And before you say she doesn't count because she's thick, well, have you freaking seen Merida below the waist? And, you know, they've also had other female characters that were pretty good, like Jessie, Dory. I don't particularly like the female cook from Ratatouille, but she looks like she was created to be a feminist about, you know, how much she bitches about how there's not a lot of women in the kitchen. As funny as that sounds. And how she basically crawled her way up to be there. Like, I actually want to see a parody of Ratatouille where the roles are reversed, where you have an ambitious young girl who wants to cook for a living, and there's a rat in the kitchen who's like so bitter about how it's hard for rats to claw their way to the top. Because that's basically what Remy is. He's the white-eyed protagonist who wants to follow his dream of doing stuff, who doesn't conform, and is a free spirit, basically. That's not dissimilar to Mulan, basically, who I'm pretty sure will be #1 on this list, and who Merida is not dissimilar to either. And also, never mind.
I am Merida, firstborn descendant of Clan Dunbrog, and I'll be shooting for my own hand.
Oh, so she's autosexual. I mean, she's sexually attracted to herself. Like the villain in Hunchback of Notre Dame too. I could kiss me. I don't know, is being autosexual even a thing? Because if it is, weird.
The basis of her story is one we've heard countless times before.
Hey, you just debunked your own argument. Like, we've seen characters like this. Let's move on.
A young girl is being pressured into an arranged marriage that she doesn't want, and exerts her independence to follow her own path.
Again, that is a pretty boring character. It's actually not... She actually has kind of a lot in common with Alice from the Tim Burton version of Alice in Wonderland, when you think about it. Granted, she is a much better written character than Alice, but that's not really saying much given how blandly written Alice Kingsley is. But yeah, I still like Merida more because she's got the spunky attitude that I was talking about earlier with Anna. She even kind of looks like Anna when she's just woken up. And if you're getting tired of my rambling, just be grateful that I'm not showing the entire unedited video, because that's what videos like this get crapped on for, because they're the worst thing on YouTube for, basically stealing people's content. If you want to watch the video, the link is in the description below. I'm not stopping you. Which, yeah, the bad reaction videos do that as well, but it's a point and you can just watch it on their video. Moving on.
This whole marriage is what you want. Do you ever bother to ask what I want? No! You walk around telling me what to do, what not to do, trying to make me be like you. Well, I'm not going to be like you.
On top,
And how is this a feminist thing? You're going back to Ratatouille. It's just like Remy's dad forcing him to be like the rest of the rat clan. It's not a gendered issue. Well, not necessarily, anyway.
of that, she also refuses to perform femininity in the way that is expected of her.
Oh, I like that they added in the way that is expected of her, because femininity in general is not bad. So, take that, She-Ra reboot.
Forcing those around her to reshape their idea of what it means to be a woman.
Well, you shouldn't force them. You should try to educate people about why you should do that and why it's beneficial. If you just force people to conform to your ideals, then you're just as bad as the people forcing you to be like them. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say it was just piss poor wording.
expected of her, forcing those around her to reshape their idea of what it means to be a woman.
Yeah, and hey, we're just talking about Elastigirl, but they're going to that point about reshaping what it means to be a woman. Well, it's already been reshaped countless times throughout history, and again, like, girls have it pretty good at the moment. We have, Punky Brewster is... I don't think any critics back then were bashing on it having a tomboy protagonist and treating her gender as normal outside of those 2 episodes that I've seen so far. There could be more that go a bit more feminist. Talking about the episode where she enters in that competition for boys, and as well as the Space Shuttle Challenger episode, which is a pretty good episode in my opinion. But did they really have to name drop the first female astronaut? And that's another thing that I've been labelled as an SJW for doing, even though SJWs are the ones gushing about the first female this and that. Let's see what they say about Elastigirl. Also, when was this? Okay, 28. Okay, so this was after the release of The Incredibles 2, so they could mention some stuff there. They could reference that movie is what I'm saying.
Number 3, Helen Parr, also known as Elastigirl, The Incredibles franchise.
I'm at the top of my game. I'm right up there with a big dog.
Oh yeah, and this quote, again, like, just be yourself, be normal. You know, the thing that MsMojo here was just praising Elsa for doing, and now he's praising Belle and, was it Hilda for doing? Belle Hilda. Yeah, I like that name. I think I might call my daughter Belle Hilda. Like, her first name could be Belle and her middle name Hilda. But I'm planning on calling my first daughter Linda. Moving on. Oh, and another thing about this... Oh, and another thing about this... that face, though. But another thing about this bit she's saying here, that this clip was actually reused in The Incredibles 2. Like, it's like being shown on TV, and Jack saw it, and the rest of the family saw it, or whatever, but a lot of people didn't know that was taken from the first movie, and they were using as evidence that The Incredibles 2 was pushing a feminist agenda. But, like, I agree that it sucks that they were being feminist, but that's not the fault of the sequel. It's the fault of the first movie. The people who made the first movie. Like, whoever wrote that into the first... yeah, it's from the first movie is what I'm saying, so don't blame the second one. See how I bashed both sides?
Girls, come on! Leave the saving the world to the men? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, oh god, she looks Asian here. Funny how I happen to watch a show about a half-white, half-Asian superhero. If a woman doesn't want to go into a certain field, just let her not go into a certain field. If she doesn't want to be a scientist, just let her pursue her dream of becoming a musician. If she wants to be a scientist, let her. Let her be a scientist. Don't force her to join, I don't know, construction work or what have you. I know this has been said time and time again, but how come more feminists aren't pushing for women to be in sewage work?
When we first met Elastigirl in 2004's The Incredibles, it was clear that she was a...
Wow, the CG has improved over time. Like, I was... on the day of recording this, I was just watching Meet the Robinsons earlier, and even that movie has sort of dated CG. Probably because I've seen Frozen, and I saw the trailers for Big Hero 6, and I even saw The Incredibles 2 and Inside Out and that, and like those movies are pretty damn crisp compared to Meet the Robinsons, especially to Chicken Little, but I think that one was just really rushed anyway. Anyway, this is a comment that has nothing to do with the... Let's move on.
strong character. But when the film finally got a sequel...
Wait, what? Wait, what were they saying about the wrong character?
I don't think so.
When we first met Elastigirl in 2004's The Incredibles, it was clear that she was a strong character.
Oh, strong character. I thought they said the movie was about the wrong character. Like, oh, how dare they focus on Mr. Incredible? Like, movies shouldn't be about men. Oh my god, I can so imagine Shanti Binks having that viewpoint, given how much she really seems to hate men, or supposedly hates men, or whatever. Or is she just an all-around bitch in general?
But when the film finally got a sequel 14 years later, Helen Parr had become the star of the show, leaving her husband behind to take care of the kids.
And dozens of anti-feminists were crying about it, even though they're the ones who want the husband to see his kids. And yes, I know that they didn't get divorced in this movie, but he still gets to see his fucking children while the wife does stuff with her life. I swear I didn't mean to rhyme there, but... I always pause on the funniest faces. Not always, but often. It's like, honestly, in my opinion, anti-feminists are just as bad as feminists, which is why I find it difficult to identify as an anti-feminist, and instead I call myself a non-feminist or an ambi-feminist, since I sort of agree with some feminist viewpoints, like the whole toxic masculinity thing. They're not saying that men in general are toxic or that masculinity in general is toxic. They're saying a certain type of masculinity is toxic. Like, if I say Italian greyhound, does that mean all greyhounds are from Italy? Or it just means this particular breed of greyhound happens to be of Italian origin. Or if I say emperor penguin, does that mean that every penguin is an emperor penguin? Does Nintendo 64 mean that every Nintendo console is 64-bit? Hell, if masculinity in general was toxic, it would be redundant to say toxic masculinity, because it would be like saying wet water, or salty salt, or penguin bird. Well, no, bird penguin, because no all birds are penguins, but all penguins are birds. Or, like, you get my point, right? Anyway, this is another tangent that has nothing to do with the video, so moving on.
While she's out saving the world.
Bye, sweetie.
She kind of sounded like Kristen Schaal just then.
Creator Brad Bird said, quote, "I don't think you would ever catch me saying that it's feminist."
Okay, let's actually read this. Before you get your capes in a bunch, there's a reason Bird doesn't want to label his film, and the sheer act of not thinking of the movie as feminist might make even more feminist in a way. Yep, you gotta love that circular reasoning. Saying that Italian greyhounds are Italian must mean they're Mongolian, in a way. See how stupid that sounds? I'm just gonna be staying home all day. Yeah, that must mean that I'm going out to a party, in a way. I'm not feeling well. Oh, that must mean I'm feeling super fantastic, in a way. See how stupid that sounds? I don't think you would ever catch me saying that it's feminist because it makes it sound like it has a gender. Well, you give some credit to Brad Bird. He's got some actual gonads, to use a gender-neutral term. You know, he's just showing a superhero who happens to be female. And yeah, they do make a joke that, you know, she is a credit to her gender. Like, yeah, Bob didn't actually say gender, so he could have been referring to her hair color for all we know. But it was probably her gender, given that she was the only female out of the 3 superheroes who attended that meeting. The others being Bob and Lucius. Best, not Malfoy. No, that would be cool if, actually, no, that sounds like the bad fanfic territory, but it would still be better than Snape meets the Teletubbies, I can tell you that. Anyway, Bird explains Hello Giggles. What kind of name is that? At a press day for Incredibles 2 up at Pixar in Emeryville, California. I think we had strong women characters in the first Incredibles. See, that debunks your point about Brave earlier. That's part of our wheelhouse and that hasn't changed, but it makes it sound like this is a new thing. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's nothing new, and Brad Bird agrees with me. And even little Louis here agrees with me. Yeah, there's nothing abnormal about being about being a little girl puppy, is there? Whenever you see a girl pup at the puppy park, you know, you don't say, ooh, she's a girl. Yeah, she's a strong, independent girl pup. She didn't, you know, she didn't need a human male telling her what to do. Nah, she's just having ovaries is just a normal part of being a dog. Or half the world's dogs, at least. And you're just a little boy pup, which is also normal for dogs. But half the world's dogs, anyway. I wonder if transgender dogs exist. I'm actually going to Google that if you can bear with me. Which, if there are, I don't see a problem with that. I used to be a real hardcore transphobe, but now I'm not. Transgender dogs, and I hope it's not from a satire. Okay, can dogs be transgender? Wag. Experienced my dog underwent gender reassignment surgery. Is it possible for animals to be transgender? That's actually a good question. Yeah, of course, this isn't talking about like clownfish, which change their gender as the needs of the clan dictate. Louis, here's your freaking... Anyway, this is just another random tangent. Just be grateful that I'm not falling into the same trap as like Rashade and Jinx and them. And even a good reactor like Abraham Folks. He is awesome, by the way. It's a shame that his channel got taken down, but I can see why a lot of people would consider him a bad reactor, even though he actually does react to the video. Anyway, where was I? Makes it sound like it's a new thing that is informed by something that's happening in society, and that's not true. It's more about exploring Helen a little bit more because it's entertaining and interesting. Exactly! It's just entertaining Helen as a character. Like I said, Pixar's come a long way since Brave. It only took him, what, 3 years to get there? That's factoring in Inside Out. It just treats Riley as normal. It just explores the life of Riley, and joy, and sadness, and disgust. Even though I'm not sure if the feminists would... I'm sure the feminists would be pretty split about disgust, to be honest. But, you know, I've seen a lot of feminists praise Riley being a good character. I wonder if she's on this list as well. She'll probably be number 2 if Mulan is number 1. Not because we want to pound the table, but if somebody else said that it's feminist, I don't think we would be upset. Again, that's nice of him to accept that others can have that viewpoint. Like I said, I'm planning to get into the animation industry, and I'm planning to make my own show about a young girl with autism who wants to be a musician, and I think that's vague enough for... But basically, she doesn't adhere to feminist theory, probably because she's a young girl, but like, she doesn't need to, because she just likes to be herself, and if you want to see that as feminist, then good for you. I don't mind that. Just don't force people to view it the same way you do. So yeah, feel free to yell from the rooftops that Incredible 2 is hella feminist, even though it's not trying to be. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Hello, giggles. Simply a reflection of our changing times and world. And not really. Women have been doing stuff for decades, if not centuries. If not millennia. If not tens of millennia. Have you not heard of Punky Brewster? Or Little Audrey, the inventor of the dishwasher? Okay, I'll stop pounding that joke into the ground. But yeah, Little Audrey, they at least predicted that a woman would invent the dishwasher. And that real-life example, I can't remember the woman's name. And yes, I'm calling her the woman because her gender is actually relevant to this scenario. If I was just talking about like inventors, or who invented the dishwasher, like if the dishwasher was the main topic, or if inventions were the main topic, I would probably just call it the inventor of the dishwasher, or the person who invented the dishwasher. But since this is about gender, yeah, you get the idea. Inventor of the dishwasher. No, it's the first one that came up. Ah, Josephine Cochrane. Wait, it was invented in the 19th century? Huh. For some reason I assumed it was that... Whatever, it's... Okay. and how it's incredibly common for women to be away from home, working to support their families and themselves. Yeah, watch freaking Daria. That shows a woman, Daria's mother, coincidentally also named Helen. Is Helen just a name for feminist women? And apparently so is Abigail. Well, not necessarily for feminist women, but for, like, the Dean Hardscrabble, the little mouse girl from Once Upon a Forest, they both named Abigail. And they both happen to be not traditionally feminine women. So we're starting to see a pattern here. It's by no means a state. Yeah, okay. So yeah, as Ski Hound once said to me, your own video is debunking you. Because Brad Bird is saying that the movie wasn't trying to be feminist, it was just trying to show Helen as a character who just happens to be female and kick-ass and does her own thing and works away from home and pisses off anti-feminists even though she should be doing them a goddamn favour by letting the husband see his goddamn kids. Isn't that right, Billy?
Because that makes it sound like it has an agenda. In any case, this follow-up clearly represents what modern families look like.
Yeah, I don't know. Claire just stays home. Gloria's basically just a trophy. But oh, you said modern families with an S. My bad. And it's been that way for a few decades now. We've got Daria, as I mentioned. Ugh. Yeah, Daria herself doesn't even seem like the housewifey type. She's not the kind who writes in her journal about what her name will be if she marries this particular bloke that she likes. Though she probably would keep her last name anyway because she doesn't seem overtly feminist either. But like, my point is, women have been doing it for decades. My own mother has been in real estate for well over a decade now. Before then, she was staying at home mainly because we were really young, the kids, me and my two sisters. My two sisters and I, whatever. But, you know, as we grew older, she went back into the workplace and started bringing home the bacon. Except I don't like bacon. But you get my point, right? It's not an abnormal thing for women to do this. Moving on.
And that's pretty darn progressive.
It's not progressive. Ironically, you're being fucking sexist against women by labeling it as progressive, because there's nothing progressive about a woman being normal. It's normal for women to be themselves. I'm sorry, did you not say that your channel is aimed at girls? Girls who just want to be themselves and be... What the actual fuck? You're insane, whoever wrote this. You're actually motherfucking insane. You clearly do not care about girls and women. You just want to treat them as a commodity, as something to quickly get you views. And that could be considered a form of slavery. I mean, I thought slavery was condemned in this day and age. I mean, it's condoned in the Bible, and we all know the Bible is a bunch of crap, so we should just all do the opposite of whatever it says in the Bible. We should murder, we should covet our neighbors' wives. Okay, that was a joke, but a lot of the stuff in the Bible is crap. Like how the hell does a person magically appear in a furnace to save a bunch of boys who are thrown in there? That doesn't happen, despite what VeggieTales would have you believe. But that episode was kind of cute, even if it does have its problems. It was a nice modern retelling of the story. But again, another fucking tangent.
You know it's crazy, right? To help my family, I gotta leave it. To fix the law, I gotta break it.
You've got to, so our kids can have that choice.
Number 2, Moana.
And I'm guessing Riley's not going to be on the list of Mulan is, because Mulan hasn't been on here so far. Also, you know what Moana does? It treats the character's gender as normal! God! Something which you have failed to do just by making this video that you've done. And I guess you could say I'm being a hypocrite for doing so, but I'm doing it to counter your beliefs. As a wise young woman once told me, one wrong that fixes another wrong restores balance to the universe. Well, she didn't say it directly to me, but you get the point, right? Moving on.
Moana. Unsurprisingly, with each film that Disney releases, their female characters seem to become more fiercely independent.
And they also seem to be becoming less feminist. Like how the film just treats her gender as normal. If anything, you should be keeping her off the list because she has internalized misogyny because of that. But if you're going to put her on the list for that reason, then you should also put Riley on the list because the movie treats her gender as normal. Do you not see the problems with your logic? Honestly, this is starting to sound like creationism, making retarded points that can easily be debunked by a man with a rhino avatar. By the way, subscribe to Vice Rhino, he makes awesome stuff.
You are not
Autonomous. Yeah, Punky Brewster, Daria, Lisa Simpson, Riley, Maggie Pesky. My God! Watch TV and movies! That's all I'm asking for. God, how can you be so stupid?
my hero, and I'm not here so you can sign my oar. I'm here because you stole the heart of Tefiti, and you will board my boat, sail across the sea, and put it back!
With 2016's Moana, we got to meet a female figure unlike any we had seen.
Yeah, and you're a misogynist for liking her because she's not a female gender bend of an already existing male character. I mean, that's the feminist logic, not mine, and it came out the same year as that movie that shall not be named. Because how dare we make our girls think creatively, am I right?
Before. Moana.
Dude, she's exactly like a lot of female, well, okay, not exactly like, but she's the same basic archetype. Have you not watched Kim Possible in your life? Because I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and it's basically another fucking strong female heroine in the kick-ass sense. God. It'd be like saying that Louis is unlike any other dog that ever existed, just because I personally have never seen an Italian greyhound before him. At least not knowingly. Actually go out and watch stuff before spouting your preconceived biases as fact.
Isn't concerned about finding a man.
And neither is Punky Brewster or Daria or Lisa Simpson. And also, if you're saying being with a man is a bad thing, oh my God, just watch Daria and see her fucking parents. How can you be... Oh my God, how can you be so intellectually retarded? That's what this whole video is. It's intellectual dishonesty. Wait, did I just imply that retards are dishonest? No. Necessarily. Well, moving.
Rather about pushing her personal limits and see.
Yeah, and there's other female characters like that. Oh my fucking God. I've actually seen Moana, and I thought it was okay. It was a good movie, a nice little adventure film for the kiddies, but it's nothing new as far as female protagonist movies go. Actually do research before you make your claims. This is just that cracked video all over again. Oh my God, this female character does something cool. That is so progressive and exciting and groundbreaking and innovative. I hate you, whoever wrote this. I feel bad for the narrator, assuming she's not the one who wrote this. But she had to read this. And I feel bad for all the girls who watched this video and who watched similar content to this, like being propagandized into thinking that their gender is something special, like it's a special attribute they have. Like having an extra thumb or something. So you can climb trees better. No, it's nothing like that. It's just a normal part of human and even animal biology. Just when I was at the dog park earlier, I saw female dogs. There's nothing special about them. I couldn't even tell that they were female. And I was just left to assume their gender until the owner said it. Ooh, looks like dogs must be progressive. They're non-binaryism. And that's another reason you should say being female and doing stuff is progressive, because you're complaining women as just some lowly minority class, and that there's nothing normal about them. Let's see what else they say.
Saving for people.
Have you not heard of Wonder Woman? Yeah, there's an example I didn't mention in this video. Freaking Wonder Woman. God, this is so bad. I can't wait to read the comments on this video. They're going to be really juicy.
Her signature song.
Yeah, and Hercules had a song called If I'll Go the Distance. Ooh, he must be a progressive male character, showing young boys that they don't need a woman. Even though he ends up with a woman anyway, so he just must be... So he just removes all individuality, I guess. I bet the MsMojo must think that, unironically.
And is all about seeing what she is capable of and not being held back by people's expectations of her.
And so, oh my god, so did Punky Brewster. Oh my fucking lord. Or lady, whatever, we're not sexist on this channel. Who says there even has to be something in the sky watching over us? Vice Rhino certainly doesn't think there is, but personally I'm open to it.
Of her.
Also, didn't you just bring up Elsa on this list, or also doesn't have a man getting with a man romance subplot or whatever? And that came out before Moana. Watch your own video, maybe.
Even becomes chief of her village, defying the odds.
Yeah, maybe it's because she was actually being herself and not listening to the feminists telling her she's oppressed. Oh my god, I think I'm starting to lose my voice here from yelling so much. Honorable mention. So apparently Megara is an honorable mention, even though she's part of the romance subplot. Kind of contradicting yourself here, MsMojo.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Aren't you?
Yeah, let's just hope Riley's in the honorable mentions. At least we'll agree on something.
A damsel in distress?
I'm a damsel. I'm in distress. I can handle this. Have a nice day.
Just let her meet me. I will win you.
Also, Jasmine ends up having to be rescued by a man, so maybe that's why she and Meg are in the honorable mentions.
Your daughter?
How dare you? All of you, standing around deciding my future? I am not a prize to be won.
Yeah, and even back then, it was nothing new. Punky Brewster. God. Are you intentionally pretending she doesn't that show never got made? I know Anita was, or at least I assume Anita was when she made that Muslim video. Assume that women are objectified in media. Because does she think little girls are sexy or something? Because that's more on her than...
So there's 10 of...
Funny how they use Esmeralda, even though she clearly doesn't need feminism. Calling Esmeralda a feminist would be like calling... I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. You know that piece of art, this is not a pipe? Well, Esmeralda is not a feminist. She may look like a feminist, but she is actually a fictional representation of a person who feminists misconstrue as being feminist. Again, if you want to think she's feminist, that's fine, but you're presenting it as though it's a fact. Like, this is what you have to believe or else you're a misogynist. Also, I actually used Esmeralda as my avatar in the response to that Cracked commentary. That should tell you something, but that she's not a fucking feminist. Or at the very least that I don't consider her feminist.
You and one of me. What's a poor girl to do?
Ha! Called it! A new Mulan. Wait, this isn't an honorable mention, is it?
Number 1. Mulan.
Ha! Called it. I knew she would be number 1, but... By the way, I'd just like to point out that I noticed that Riley is not on this list. Then again, I'd probably still be pissed off if she was on this list because it'd be something just for being a girl who does her own thing, just like with Moana and Helen and fucking what's her name? Yeah, at least with Mulan, she's joining the fucking army. So yeah, that's something that feminists have actually been fighting for. So there you go, I guess. Let's hear what they say. Let's just hope that this will be the saving grace of this video.
Mulan. Interestingly, our number 1 pick for the most feminist Disney character is one that was created 2 decades ago.
And that's interesting because it was bad for women back then. Oh my god, Punky Brewster came out in the 1980s. And I'm actually considering doing a commentary on a feminist blog post where she goes over all her reasons as to why Punky Brewster isn't feminist and how it's not good for young girls or whatever, but at least she acknowledged that Punky Brewster at the time. Whatever, let's just see what they have to say about Mulan.
Mulan exemplifies many of the qualities of a feminist woman, and acted as a role model for lots of young...
Except she doesn't show the victim complex, the constant whining that everything needs to be catered towards her, the complaining about objectification of women. I could go on. She doesn't insist that women must all be a bunch of sluts. There's a lot of qualities about Mulan that aren't fem. Oh, and she's also a non-conformist who does her own thing. That's also not fucking feminist, because feminists insist that you have to conform to their standards or else you're a misogynist, or if you're a woman you have internalized misogyny. So Mulan has fucking internalized misogyny. Oh, and she's also a victim blamer. She blames herself for having to defeat the Huns. Instead of, teaching the Huns not to invade China, she has to defend China from the Huns because, feminists don't approve of that because it's victim blaming. We have to teach men not to do all these horrible things to women. That's the feminist mantra nowadays. Mulan is not feminist. God.
girls in the 90s and beyond.
And about the whole role models thing, that's something that's really confused me. Like if you're a girl and you looked up to anyone as a role model, that's fine. We all need role models to an extent, but the way feminists go on about it is like it's almost like they talk about how girls need role models in order to get anywhere in life, as if they can't get their inspiration from anywhere else. Like what they think is fun. Like, this is why I don't really appreciate the whole mentality of, oh, we need more women in science so that girls can see, like, people like them in science. Or what if they identify more with male scientists? What if she's an Aspie girl? Like, yeah, that was even in a play that I was in, called Impersonal Space, about a young girl with autism who, she develops a role models / imaginary friends in the form of Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein. And then her mother brings up Temple Grandin and just says, oh, she's a woman with autism. Like, that's supposed to be a defining trait of her. What about the fact that she invented that machine that's people with autism can, like, basically squeeze themselves into, and that apparently feels nice to them? I've actually never tried it, but I think I'd like to someday. As someone on the spectrum. Yeah, like, girls don't need to see other girls in these positions. They can just What if they just think science is legitimately fun? Like, it's fun to test how the world works. Maybe that's the reason they want to go into science, because they legit want to contribute to the field of science. Oh, God. Like, I didn't plan to go into the animation industry because I saw other people with autism in there. Like, there's no evidence that Walt Disney was on the spectrum, or that Hanna-Barbera were, or that Phil Vischer, the creator of VeggieTales, or Rebecca Sugar. Like, I even look up to Rebecca Sugar as a role model, and she doesn't even have the same junk as me. So, gee, it's almost like you don't genitalia as someone to see them as a role model. Just like my point about the girl looking up to Newton and Einstein. Or, you know, what if a girl aspires to be a musician writing for film scores? Yeah, she could have like John Williams as an inspiration. Or even the famous classical composers like Mozart and Bach and Beethoven and all that. Tchaikovsky even. Gee, it's almost like there exist girls who aren't sexist. Moving on.
She calls into question the gender roles in her very traditional society.
Yeah, a society that actually did oppress women. Like is currently oppressing women in the Middle East and other places. And yet when we talk about that, oh, it's Islamophobic. And oh, you're being racist against Muslims, even though Muslims aren't a race. Well, by your own logic, I could say MsMojo here is being sinophobic. That's spelled with S-I, not C-Y. I can understand why people would be scared of dogs. Just not this dog here, because he's puny as fuck. It was pretty big compared to the chihuahuas at the dog park, though, but anyway, like, you're being sinophobic with an S by saying that China's sexist against women back then. Like, why are you so racist against the Chinese, huh? Did a Chinese man molest you as a child? Did a Chinese man rape your family? Did the Chinese give a positive review to some movie that you don't like? Just pointing out the flaws in the feminist arguments.
Anne goes undercover as a man in order to pursue her goals.
Sorry.
And Grandpa Simpson went undercover as a woman so he could avoid the draft. So that's pretty much the exact opposite of what's going on here when you think about it. Oh, and so did Jasper, the old guy. Oh, you said what? Oh no, what? That guy.
Sorry you had to see that, but...
And I'll give Mulan credit for not doing that stupid Patrick voice that most girls do when they imitate a guy. So I was like talking to my boyfriend, and he's like, "Oh, I think you have a nice nose." Yeah, I hate when they do that. Even if it's a guy with a fucking nasal voice like Mr. Whiskers from Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. Like even Brandy was even doing a fucking Patrick voice when imitating Mr. Whiskers. Like. She wasn't even trying to sound like him. Mr. Whiskers, I mean. Does anyone remember that show about the bunny and the golden retriever? I think she's a golden. She's noticeably lighter than the ones they have in America. And I know this because I saw an American golden retriever. Anyway, this has nothing to do with the video.
But you know how it is when you get those manly urges. And you
Yeah, toxic masculinity, am I right?
just gotta kill something.
She acknowledges that she wouldn't be getting anywhere as a woman in her role, but
Yes, in ancient China, because it was relevant back then. Oh, sorry, Lily. Like, that is not relevant to our current society. If Mulan were a real person, alive today, living here in Australia in 2018, she would not have to face this problem. Like, yeah, she could be a feminist, but I can imagine her being the same kind of feminist that my cousins are, where she doesn't let it rule her life. And, you know, she doesn't take up gender studies, she actually studies something meaningful that doesn't just get her a job in whining about gender roles, because she actually freaking does stuff. Moving on.
ultimately subverts people's expectations of what girls are capable of.
In ancient China, And you're talking about like this was a new thing in 1998. I'm gonna say it again. Little Lulu, Little Audrey, Punky Brewster. Daria! Was Buffy the Vampire Slayer around back then? I'm pretty sure Buffy was around back then. I definitely know Kim Possible wasn't.
It looks like you're out of ideas.
Oh god, he sounds like Dr. Claw. I'll get you next time, Gadget. Bullshit! Yeah, that's cartoon physics if I ever saw it.
Not quite. Do you agree with our picks?
No! Or at least not your reasons for your picks. You fucking... Actually go out and meet a girl for once, and you'll see what I mean. They're everywhere, and they're doing stuff. It's not a new thing. So as a little bonus, I'm just gonna read the comments on this list. Okay, Roxanne Holmer, or however you say her name, says, Tiana needs to be placed higher on the list. She was a black woman in the 1920s in New Orleans, where there were still Jim Crow laws in place. Never mind that SJWs are trying to bring back Jim Crow laws with their black-only safe spaces, but whatevs. And established a very successful restaurant and was a chef, which is an extremely male-dominated industry even today. Yeah, and hockey is also a male-dominated sport, but nobody gives a shit about Riley for some reason. She's ambitious, independent, which are traits that most feminists don't have. Okay, let's see what the reply says. She really does. Just small circle jerking. She got her still got her restaurant with her own money. Still got hunk of a husband. And that makes her not feminist according to this list, you idiot. Belle got my adventurous gal, knew Mulan would be #1. Oh, Belle, my adventurous gal. Where did I get got from? Grace Wilborn. Relay the 10-minute mark. Just an honorable mention for the honorary goddess of sarcasm, as I'm guessing they're talking about Megara. Dishonor in your heart. Yes, that Mushu quote. Oh my god, what did they do to Skeletor? Anyway, she should be in the top 10. LeMayo, she is the best. You know how many... Yeah, let's... Oh, look, there's Riley. Oh my god, this is even from MsMojo, this video with Riley in the thumbnail. Actually, I'm just going to compare the upload dates of these videos. Okay, so this is from September 2018.
Disney movies might...
This video with Riley in the thumbnail was from 2017, so they obviously knew that Riley exists, and yet they still peddle these characters like being strong females a new thing. Which, yeah, yes, I know Mulan came out before Inside Out, but before then there was Punky fucking Brewster and Little Audrey. Fuck, this list is dumb. I'm not even saying that I hate Mulan or even dislike it. I think it's a good movie. Definitely a good one to show your kids, to show them that they don't have to conform to expectations. But we also have that VeggieTale episode, Rat Shack and Benny, for that, but I don't see anyone claiming it's pro-vegetables or anything. Okay, so I definitely agree with Mulan and Moana, but Tiana should have been higher on this list. She had 2 jobs in a day. It's unfair to say that Disney female leads that display typical feminine qualities are not feminist. Cinderella's as an example, survived for years with child abuse, physically, mentally, and still kept her goodness and mental clarity. See? Disney was still doing it back then, creating... you could say she was pretty feminist for the time, and I've also... Okay, just because she's not fighting the Huns doesn't mean she's not stronger. Yeah, that's a good point. Some of the ones they feature like Rapunzel and Elsa, many feminine... Okay, that's... Yeah, I'll give the video this one. It's just that she wasn't independent though. Neither is Bart Simpson. He's still being looked after by that mother of his. Hell, neither is Principal Skinner. He still lives with his mother, even though he's, what, 40, 50 something? What a man baby. But patriarchy, she needed to validate herself through a man or some nonsense. People, that's old movies, but Okay, I'm just going to reply to this person because even though they're arguing it against this person who says Cinderella should have been on the list, I disagree with their reasoning. They're saying that Cinderella, Snow White are older, but little Audrey was around back then. So I'm just going to write, but little around back then, so how come she was more independent and ambitious? Cinderella's the weakest character. She accepts her fate, never stands up for herself. Oh yeah, fairy godmother, handsome pretty. Yeah, and the godmother's also female, or at least what we would call female. God. And also, Cinderella was abused by women. God. I wouldn't say they're feminists, I would call them independent. Exactly! You don't need feminism. That's what feminist means. No, not really. White man. Oh, fuck. Again, the white man card, because women are a minority. Technically, feminists are people who believe in women's rights, so they could be classified as feminists. However, I do think that independent works more in this case, as the characters didn't really talk about women's rights. Feminists are mainly man-haters. So, Megra is feminist then. It's one thing this video got right. Not really. Feminists are man-haters. G's biggest march. Feminism is when women want special treatment instead of equal treatment as men. Yeah, just like this fucking video. Not saying all are man-haters, but there are feminists out there. Yeah, okay. We agree that many women are just... If you call yourself a feminist and you're one of the good ones, actually reasonable. Yeah, I agree with Blake guy. Oh, look, we got another comment. I wouldn't say feminist exactly, I'd say more independent than anything. That's what feminist is. Not really being independent is part of what makes them feminists. No, being dependent on feminist dogma is what makes you a feminist. Being independent doesn't make you a feminist. I'm an example of that. Yeah, I agree with this Ada Blake here. I'm just going to give her a thumb up. True, because feminists often make hate speeches about men. Actually, I'm just going to comment asking why Riley wasn't on the list. So, how come Riley isn't on the list then? Okay, let's just move on. Megra and Esmeralda only an honorable mention? Well, good job for spelling Esmeralda correctly. I hate it when people spell it as Esmeralda. Like, do they not realize that it means emerald? Esmeralda didn't even shudder when she first saw Quasi. Technically, the second time she tried it, she's so kind and compassionate. Yeah, that specifically makes her not a feminist, or at least not like today's feminists. How's Megra a feminist? I don't think MsMojo knows the definition of feminism. It's not anti-romance. It's a concept that men and women are equal. Case in point, I don't believe Elsa is really that feminist. She does very little in the movie except freeze everything and lock herself up / run away. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Zap's reviews. I'm just going to like this comment. There's nothing to show the equality of men and women. Well, Riley doesn't really show it either, but I wouldn't specifically say she's anti-fem... fuck her. She actually let men control her mind more than other characters. I know. If anything, Anna is the more feminist one, since she is the one who saves the day. She goes after her sister on her own, is quick on her feet, and chooses to save Elsa over herself. Oh wait, chooses to save Elsa over herself. She's also the one who actually attends to different events, gatherings, and connects with people. Sure, she falls in love too quickly. Okay. Exactly! Like, what the actual frick? Anna is a very underrated princess, even though she should be the more important. I know! What the fuck? Feminism is when a woman treats men like shit. Then there's more arguing about what feminism actually means. Really hope Mulan's #1. Well, good for you then. Yeah. I'm just gonna reply to this person. Sleeping Beauty was a very feminist movie. Okay, that's pretty much all there is for this reaction video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, leave a comment down below, support me on Patreon, and buy the shit from all my online stores, and ask me questions on Ask FM, and yeah, that's basically it for now. This is Sam Bateman, signing off.